Hey everyone, chapter 3 of what DIVOC, Love in a Pandemic, What Could Go Wrong, Everything. Here we go. Chapter 3, What the Bleep Is This? Week number 1, March 16 to 22nd, 2020. Two men sit in a radio studio divided by a glass. Lando Prump is the host of the popular talk show and is about to launch into his usual loudmouth, brash, and uncensored rants. His producer, John Smith, or the guy who pushes a bunch of buttons like a half-trained donkey, as he's often referred to on air by Lando, sits in his customary smaller seat behind the switchboard. In the background, commercials are playing as John moves a few papers around as is seemingly in a good mood. Lando stares right at him, annoyed that he's smiling. What the hell is wrong with you? What? John meekly responds. All you have to do is press play and answer the phone. Stop making noise. Don't do anything else. Don't mess up and let me get the show started. I have to pretend like this flu bug nonsense is a big deal. John bites his tongue as he needs to. That's his job. He heard that a few of his friends have recently been laid off with all this virus stuff hovering around. He doesn't want to make Lando upset. So John pushes the on-air button and a big red light comes on behind his head. Lando jumps right into it. People of Montreal, I came in this weekend. I took time out of my personal life to come in on a weekend because our world has been turned upside down. Your guy is here. Your straight shooter, the one person who is like no other. The only one who tells you like it is. This is the wake-up call. Yours truly, Lando Prump. I have wall-to-wall coverage of, are you serious? Oh, yes, I am. Virus coverage. This bug is legit, and it's closed our city down. Why do you say? Well, we have a problem that a month ago nobody ever thought about. I've always known this is real. This is a pandemic. I felt it was a pandemic long before it was called a pandemic. I've always viewed it as very serious. John rolls his eyes as Lando spews out his usual double talk, know-it-all rhetoric. But what can you say? It works for him, and he gets the ratings. He's a local media star, with lots of people who adore him and others who can't stand him. His polarizing nature makes him a ratings cash cow, and that's all the station cares about. Monroe is sitting in the dining room reading his paper and listening to Lando's show. Monroe has been an avid listener to the wake-up call ever since Ryan was born. It goes to show Lando's staying power over almost the last 2 decades on the airwaves. Kate calls for Ryan. Monroe is annoyed because it's making it difficult for him to listen to the show and enjoy his quiet morning routine. She walks into the living room as she's about to run out the door to work. Where's Ryan? Monroe tells her he snuck out when she was in the shower to try and find a job again. Kate's ticked that her father didn't stop him for leaving after she repeatedly scolded him last night once he came back from that failed job hunt. Kate's annoyed face doesn't seem to faze Monroe. He fully supports his grandson getting some kind of employment. Kate tells her father point blank, when he gets home, he is to go nowhere else, and he better be here when I get home from work. You hear me, Dad? Monroe nods half-heartedly. Kate is getting increasingly impatient with her father's attitude, but doesn't have time for this. She's stressed out enough about what her day at the long-term care facility is bound to be like. The emails and calls she's been receiving from worried family members of the residents at the home and the government safety directives that need to be put in place are really overwhelming. Her staff, who is already overworked, is about to go into overdrive. As she's about to bolt out the door, she recognizes the familiar, annoying voice from the radio booming in her home. Dad, why? Why him? Can't you respect me enough to stop playing your show in my own house? Seriously. I like the show, Monroe barks back, and that's no way to talk about. Fine, forget it. She cuts him off. I'm off to work. Thanks for supporting my wishes, Dad, as Kate leaves. Monroe mumbles under his breath. We all make choices in life that we have to live with. And that's on you. Jake strolls into the grocery store as he's one of the first customers today. He starts tossing items off the list into the cart from his father's list. He completely oblivious to the arrows on the ground, which direct customers as to which way to go up and down the aisles. He also, unbelievably, at first doesn't notice the handful of customers who are wearing masks. Jake looks more like a drunk driver swerving back and forth like he's in the Fast and the Furious. A few diligent and slow-moving customers look at him sternly as they are following the store's new directional rules. But, of course, Jake doesn't notice. His cart is full of groceries, more than he thought he ever would buy. And let's not forget the 2 packs of toilet paper that he had huge stars on the list from and the do not forget sign in big red marker beside it. Why those 2 old men were adamant about each getting a family-sized toilet paper package makes no sense to him. But whatever, it's done. He's almost finished and sees he needs to get a specific item for Arthur and that he has no idea where it is. It's candy, but it's not the candy section. It's not in the candy section for some odd reason. Seriously, who still sucks on Werther's Originals? He heads to the front cash to ask someone. He pulls up behind a young man talking to what looks like the manager of the store. I'll do any job you need. I'm ready to work whatever shift. I don't care. The manager looks over his resume. You don't have any experience anywhere. I don't know. Please, sir, I'd be a great employee. You won't be disappointed. Jake hears the conversation, and while he emphasizes with the kid, he just wants to know where the damn candy is. Sorry to interrupt. I'm kind of in a hurry. He interrupts anyway. The manager turns to the young man. I'm sorry, kid. I just don't think I'll need any more staff right now with this. Jake quickly seeing that the kid is getting the brush off. Werther's Original. I can't find it. The young man jumps on the opportunity. He quickly darts to the cash beside the main counter and hands a bag of Werther's Original to Jake. Here you go, sir. Jake is like, great. Thank you, kid. Ask the right person and you shall receive. Jake then turns to the manager. You know what? You should give this kid a job. Imagine all the people who want to get in and out of this place really quickly with this, bug thing. You need staff willing to go above and beyond. And look at him. He doesn't even work here and he has all the answers. The manager nods in agreement and he puts up with lots of his young staff members who, as he puts it to his wife at home secretly, I can't get good help these days. I'm always fighting with them to get off their damn phones at work. The manager looks over the resume one more time and offers the young man a job on the spot. Says, so when can you start? He gets a right away as a response. Perfect. Head over to my office and we'll have you fill out the paperwork. The young man turns to Jake and says, thank you, sir, for saying what you did. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Jake is somewhat surprised of what has just transpired. It's a huge deal for this young man, and while Jake initially had no qualms about interrupting their conversation, he sees that the result of his comment helped enable this kid get a job. My pleasure. Good luck with the new job. The 2 strangers shake hands, both forgetting the newly installed social distancing guidelines. No harm was done, however, though. It was an honest and innocent slip-up. No COVID transmission. LeBlanc driving his delivery truck and doing his thing as that was today's wake-up call with Lando Prump. Catch you all tomorrow, leaks from his truck's radio. LeBlanc gets a kick out of the controversial radio host, and while he doesn't agree with a lot of what he says, it's entertaining and it keeps him in the news loop around town. He also figures, what else is he supposed to listen to? Today's best contemporary music? Come on. Today's artists don't compare to the Maestro Fresh West, Snow, Bare Naked Ladies, or the tragically hip music from his youth. He had a wide range of musical tastes back when he was a teenager in the 90s. He pulls up to the local hospital to deliver some food items and notices that the process to get in has been tightened up significantly compared to previously. He gets the customary "Salut, Luc" greeting from a hospital staffer ready to help him unload his supplies. LeBlanc and his acquaintance chatted up, and he's surprised by what he's been told. He figured this new bug was somewhat serious, but not as serious as his buddies are making it out to be. LeBlanc throws back a "à la prochaine" to his buddy and drives off somewhat shaken by the seriousness of the disinfecting process that the hospital has implemented for the time being with his deliveries. Kate is already knee-deep in staff meeting with his entire team at her long-term care facility. Questions keep coming in about protective equipment, overtime, who's going to do what, and patient care. She knew today was going to be a challenge, but she didn't predict the request for leave of absence and the logistical jigsaw puzzle she's now faced with implementing. All these new directives and policies coming down from the health ministry are quite heavy. The meeting ends with more questions than answers, and Kate decides she needs to go visit her residents to get a pulse on their state of mind. She greets a few of her favorite residents, but tries to sidestep Rupert, of course, who is strolling in the common area and making a beeline straight for her. Rupert is the resident Casanova, or at least he thinks he is. Truth be told, the ratio of women to men is 7-1, and he does have a certain advantage just because of the sheer lack of other bachelors in the building. No one to play bridge or with the lady residents. Miss Celeste. Too late. She's been spotted. Yes, Rupert, how are you today? I'm great. Word around town is that you still haven't found a husband. I'm still available. Kate not really in the mood for his usual inappropriate sexual innuendos that Rupert uses all the time. She downplays it and quickly takes off to the rounds to get a better sense of the state of mind of the seniors. Kate knocks on Iris's door. Iris is a 91-year-old that has the energy, stamina, and spunk of a woman half her age. She is the beauty of the ball in this residence, always smiling, spunky, and full of wit and wisdom. And while it's not fair to have a favorite, she is Kate's sounding board and confidant. Hi, Iris. I'd love to sit and chat for a bit. Iris's eyes light up. No matter her age, she's as sharp as a knife and straight to the point. And insightful opinions has always been a calming force for Kate and for her sometimes anxious energy. Sweetie, I'd love to. The women talk about the new measures and strategies needed to be put in place during the pandemic. Iris suggests she can help calm her friends in the home and the workers who support them. And while they do talk mostly about work, Iris does slip in. Weren't you going to meet up on Friday night with the young man you've been talking on the interweb with? Kate, who keeps her personal life very close to the vest from everyone else, does have a few secrets to share with Iris and explains how she really had a nice time, which is a delight to both women. Iris, who never married but has had, as she says, many men who've loved her, has always been a confidence booster and a therapeutic safe outlet for Kate when having their regular chats. Iris has always stressed loving oneself first and foremost is the root of happiness. The conversation finishes up after what seemed like only 5 minutes, but in fact, the ladies chatted for well over 30 minutes. Kate realizes she must go and she has so much to prepare and plan for. She thanks Iris and wishes her a good rest of the day. Rupert spots Kate walking back down the aisle out of Iris's room, so he starts to call on her name. Miss Celeste. He wants to talk to her today, he thinks. He doesn't realize, of course, that he's already had a brief conversation with her only 30 minutes ago. Kate, the professional and empathetic caregiver that she is, stops to replay the same similar conversation about her not having a husband and him being available anytime. Rupert's memory lapses and his initial stages of dementia are sadly part of his reality and not his fault. Evelyn is without Ryan or Kate at home and she can spend time with her hubby. But let's be real, he's boring. And while she does love him dearly, she's always on the go as a social butterfly and wants to spend time with her young granddaughter, Lizzie, who lives only one house over. And now that Lizzie's elementary school has been temporarily closed, Grandma suggests she will come over to their place and watch Lizzie as her parents deal with their new working conditions. They've accepted the offer, and Lizzie's mom, Emma, is scrambling to help her staff figure out how the Innovation Vocational Center will offer its services to the students. The hands-on nature of the students' schoolwork has added a layer of complexity as they try to create online platforms and services to students who have chosen the trade. Those students need a fair amount of practical learning time. Emma is in her office basement, Zooming, as Lizzie refers to it. Grandma, her dad, start talking. William, however, is a different story. He's lying down on the couch in the living room on his phone. Grandma is not impressed with her son-in-law, and the truth be told, she hasn't been impressed with him for over a year or so. In her eyes, he seems to be slacking off, doing not a whole hell of a lot ever since he quit his job to become this poker player. What the hell is that, as Monroe would say when referring to his career choice. But Grandma and Grandpa have said their piece to their daughter, Emma, and so far, this is the new reality. Evelyn turns to William after enough time has passed in her mind and says, are you going to play with your daughter or stay on the couch all day? William, with a look in his eye, bites his tongue as he knows his mother-in-law, while a sweet lady has a sharp tongue that he also dislikes in his wife. He decides to dismiss her and say, I'm going to be in the car in the driveway if you need me. I have some work to take care of, and I'm going to bring my laptop. Evelyn shakes her head, disgusted with her son-in-law's lazy attitude. Late afternoon now, and Kate's about to head home after her long day. She sees her phone ring, and it's Jake. He's driving towards his father's place to bring the groceries he promised a day earlier. They've had another good conversation on the phone and laugh a little about the toilet paper urgency Jake faced. Kate doesn't know much about Jake's strained relationship with his father, but hearing him talk about his dad is a positive. And in Jake's mind, the toilet paper story is funny to tell. He mentally prepped a few fun topics to help the conversation along, as they both agreed at the beginning of the week that it was going to be tough to spend too much time together. Kate's work commitments had to be the priority of her mindset right now, and she explains her new working reality and the precautions now needed will take up a fair bit of time. Her passion comes through loud and clear, and Jake listens intently with interest. It confirms to him she is all as close to angelic in looks and soul as you can be. Jake doesn't want to talk about his temporary layoff, however, as he has a sense of embarrassment of being out of work. Unemployment is not attractive in his mind. Both feel comfortable with the check-in nature of the call, and both like the romantic and hokey notion that this courtship has started off unconventionally, so why couldn't it be a great, maybe wacky story to talk about later in life? Like two dancing peacocks, they are both skilled with verbal tricks in their back pocket to gauge the interest level of the other. And while all is positive, the underlying possibility that this courtship could still fall flat on its face still exists, as neither believes the pandemic backdrop is ideal for a new relationship to flourish. The saving grace is that both are committed to at least trying, and they share a positive mindset about it. It won't be easy, and they have embarked on a long-distance relationship, really, but without the true geographical barrier. Instead, it's a government-prescribed body distancing challenge. Kate comments that she has a conversation ready to rock and roll with her son and more waiting at home, while Jake pulls a rabbit out of his hat and says, you know what? Maybe I'm going to pick up jogging. I hear that some people love it. Kate adores that idea, as she's been physically fit her entire life, and Jake did pick up on her love of fitness and running during their first date. So he thinks mentioning it could be a good move on his part. However, whether he actually does take up jogging is still very much up in the air. The conversation wraps up, and Kate having driven all the way home, and Jake sitting in his car for over 10 minutes while he's waiting at his father's apartment driveway. They promise to touch base soon and see if they can come up with something for the next phase of their courtship. Lando, across town, walks into his high-rise apartment, which looks over the Montreal skyline. He calls for his girlfriend. Lana, you here? He doesn't hear any response and heads right over to the fridge. One quick look around the stylish loft, it is obvious he loves himself. There are so many pictures of him on the cover of magazines and newspaper clippings and other self-indulging memorabilia. It's a wonder others could have any importance in this guy's life. Confidence is one thing, but the narcissistic nature of this man is undeniable. Who on earth is willing to spend time out of their own free will with this man? A thump comes from the bedroom, and Lando turns from the kitchen and calls again. Lana, is that you? Still no response. He slithers quietly over to his safe behind a picture frame and quickly opens it and pulls out a little handgun, which is hidden under a stack of money and a couple dad birthday cards drawn from what looks like a small child. He screams a little bit louder. Lana, is that you? No answer. He's now about to open the bedroom door, guns ablazing. And still without a response, he throws the door open, wheels the gun around like an angry cowboy. A woman is lying on the bed with headphones on. She very calmly takes them off, puts her cell phone under her pillow, and looks at Lando. What the hell is wrong with you? Waving a gun around like that, you idiot. Lando realizes it's just his girlfriend, Lana, listening to music on the bed. He, of course, tries to downplay his gun-waving bravado with his go-to move. I knew it was you. I was just fooling around. How about we do some online shopping? Once again, Lando knows exactly how to play to his audience. Lana's two favorite words in the entire universe are online shopping. She's smitten again with Lando and his saving grace move, or maybe it's simply her love of things, especially things that are bought for her. Of course, Lana is the same attractive young lady with the flat tire LeBlanc tried to pick up. And as Lando jumps on the bed beside her, let's call this Sugar Daddy Lando gets DIVOC'd. The virus of this human being, Mr. Prump, gets his just due. Jake walks up to his dad's apartment door and is about to knock when his father's neighbor, Arthur, throws the door open. Finally! What happened to you? You were waiting. We were waiting, you know. Your father asked you. Jake is not in the mood for this, but before he snaps back, Mac has heard Arthur's voice from inside his apartment and opens the door and cuts off his son before anything can escalate. Hey, son, come on in. Arthur follows behind the two men as they bring in the grocery bags and start to divvy them up. Did you get the Werthers? An eager Arthur chips in, scouring the bags. Of course, Arthur, I even bought 2 bags. I forgot to check the best before date. I think they may have some dust on that bag, but Arthur doesn't even blink an eye at Jake's attempt at humor and keeps checking the contents of the bags. Thank you, son. It means a lot to me that you did this, a grateful Mac explains. Seriously, Pop, my pleasure. So you'll be able to do again this next week also? The shy father responds. All good. Jake graciously chimes in. Helping, even if it's just grocery shopping, has made both men happy. Well, except for Arthur, as he blurts out, You didn't get enough toilet paper, Jake. We needed 2 packs each. The world is running out of it. I'm not wiping my ass with a pillowcase. A perplexing silence hushes the room after that outburst. Did he just say that? Jake wonders. What is up with this old man? Mac, once again, the peacemaker, slides in that Jake will get them some more as soon as he can. Ryan and Kate are sitting back at the kitchen table as Evelyn is cleaning up the dishes. Monroe is already passed out in his favorite chair, and although the mother and son have been talking for an hour, it doesn't seem like an apology is forthcoming from Ryan for his rather disrespectful outburst from the previous day. Kate is now caught up, however, on the latest news. Ryan not only looked for a job, but found one and already worked his first shift today. Ryan also excitedly explains how he sealed the deal when a man was looking for Grandpa's favorite candy, and he knew exactly where it was, as he's been shopping so many times with his mummy grandmother at the grocery store. And all this action came on what was supposed to be a school day, nonetheless. But there was no school, as the education minister has referred to a 2-week vacation for teachers and students for now. But as soon as Ryan's regular class opens back up, things will change drastically in Kate's mind. She questions him about the need to finish up his grade 11. Of course, Mom, I'll finish school. Don't be silly. Kate is temporarily at ease with him, allowing him to work. But when school starts again, things are going to change. And this is not what she wanted, but Kate is picking her battles on this one. She is very worried about his safety, but she has convinced herself she needs to be reasonable, as Ryan getting a part-time job is one of the lone bright spots in his life right now, even if it's not under ideal conditions. She also hopes a job will help curtail the video game addiction that Ryan suffers from. That's how Evelyn calls it with her grandmother diagnosis. There's now a knock at the door, and Emma and Lizzie walk in. Lizzie runs over to Evelyn as he gives her a big hug. Kate turns and looks at her sister as she's entering slowly behind her tiny daughter. Kate tries not to draw any attention from the others as she drags Emma to the corner, and she says, We shouldn't have anyone really touching Mom and Dad right now. It's safer for them. Emma is a little taken aback. Really? Even us? Seriously? Kate quietly says, We need to talk about what type of boundaries we are going to put in place. This is serious. Both women start chatting about the future direction that they'll take with their family interactions. Ryan sees an opening and heads off to his room to get in some Minecraft, Call of Duty, and Fortnite. In which order, who knows? But he can play all night long if he's not or has to stop. Kate asks Emma, Where's William? Emma sheepishly answered back, He's not coming over. He said he has a big online poker game tonight, so he can't make it. Grandma Evelyn and Lizzie are having a great time playing together as Grandpa Monroe stores up a storm in the same room. Little did anyone know that this would be the last time for the next little while that a hug would be permitted between Grandma and Lizzie. Emma and Kate, somewhat reluctantly, have now just decided it's better to be safe and sorry, and while it might tear their mom's heart out, visits will now be strictly virtual or through a window, not in person until further notice. Huggies for Lizzie and Nanny are off the table. Hey, and it's only for 2 weeks, the government said. This shouldn't be such a big deal. Evelyn does get the news, but she's not happy at all. It's a warmer evening, and Jake decides, after a lot of hemming and hawing, to try the jogging thing. How hard could it be, he thinks to himself. And it will give him good conversation material for his next phone call with Kate. Let's just say he encounters a few problems with this first experience. He looks ridiculous. He doesn't have any real running shoes. His jogging pants keep riding down, as the waistband, of course, is too old. And his feet are wet because he didn't have the proper shoes as well. So the clothing, an epic fail. After a couple blocks also, he was out of breath. But he kept on pushing too hard because of his ego, and he ends up walking 3/4 of the way of the route instead. He, of course, pretends to jog from time to time when he would spot some people around him. He hopes he's fooling them into thinking that he was running the whole way. Why would he do that? His ego and pride again. Of course, the shin splints, the leg cramps, and the chest pain. Oh, the chest pain. Hell, his entire body seems to be rebelling against him, one piece at a time. And finally, the pièce de résistance. He vomits just a block away from his home on the corner of the street. Fortunately, only 7 other people saw him do that. Only 7. Embarrassed? Not at all. He doesn't know any of them anyway. At least that's what he keeps telling himself to make him feel a little bit better about his experience. Oh yeah, his feet, legs, and entire body will be toast the next morning. So much pain. I'm in so much pain. Why would anyone run on purpose is all he can think. That, my friends, is chapter 3 of What DIVOC. See you next time.